So I'm gonna be real with you guys. I don't really give a about the German elections, to be honest. But people told me that it was an important election and it was happening this weekend, and I don't know about it. So let's we'll see. We'll see.
For Germany is a right-wing populist party originally founded in 2013 as a Eurosceptic.
We got any Germans in chat? Is it really an important election? Is like really crazy going on?
An economically liberal party. Over time, internal power struggles led to the departure of moderates, shifting the party further to the right. It combines national conservatism and economic liberalism.
God, they got like a million parties, guys. It's like...
It's particularly strong in Eastern Germany.
Got so many freaking Pokemon over there in Europe.
Immigration policies, closed borders, remigration of illegal immigrants, mass deportations for criminals, while strengthening the police force and reducing benefits for migrants. Economically, they promote deregulation, tax cuts, reduction of bureaucracy, and a smaller welfare state, along with rejecting climate policies, favoring fossil and nuclear energy, abolishment of CO2 taxes, and restoring Russian gas imports. They also want to reverse the ban on combustion engines, stop Germany's deindustrialization, and stop the expansion of wind energy. Their focus is to strengthen the German economy and lower living and building costs. The party calls for Germany to leave the EU and the Euro, opposes Ukraine.
Everyone wants to leave the EU now. Dude, what's going to happen if... it's going to be... Dude, if Germany leaves... Damn.
Joining
that's
NATO
that's pretty big.
Not German, but from what I've heard, the EFT is supposed to be really strong in general. The current party has even tried to ban them off the election in general.
Really?
They are currently the MAGA of Germany.
Oh, I see. So that's why everyone's freaking out about it, because they're like, people are saying they're like the MAGA of Germany, and people hate MAGA. I like MAGA.
They're also critical towards the
MAGA. I'm ultra MAGA.
Want more data protection for citizens and are against.
I just love that. I love that how they kept saying stuff. They kept making up like different terms, like ultra MAGA, great MAGA king, dark MAGA, and then like, and then everyone was just like, yeah, that sounds cool actually. Yeah, you know what? I kind of am ultra MAGA.
Pony, didn't they? I don't know if I can take anything they do seriously, eh?
Oh man. Germans have had an official party. Wait, what? They have... No way, man.
Of vaccine mandates. Culturally, it opposes gender ideology, gender policies, and a further spread of Islam's influence in Germany, advocating for traditional family structures and a child-friendly society. The AfD often frame themselves as defenders of free speech, particularly against censorship or cancel culture.
That's good.
The parties refuse to form coalitions with the AfD, limiting its path to power even in the case of a strong election performance. The Christian Democratic Union, short CDU, and the Christian Social Union...
Can they actually have a Christian political party?
Short
That's crazy.
CSU in German, are center-right parties rooted in Christian democracy, conservatism, and economic liberalism. The CDU operates nationwide except in Bavaria, where the CSU represents similar values. Founded after World War II as a non-denominational Christian party, the CDU distinguished itself from the Catholic-dominated Center Party, which had represented Christian democratic values during the Weimar Republic. Its ideological foundations lie in Catholic social teaching, conservatism, and ordo-liberalism. They have historically been in government more than any other party in Germany. Their economic policy prioritizes a social market economy, reducing bureaucracy, lowering taxes, and supporting businesses and innovation. They advocate for a high-tech economy, digitalization, and AI while opposing wealth and inheritance taxes. They also advocate for fiscal responsibility, criticizing the excessive public spending by other parties. On energy, they support affordable prices, nuclear power, and reversing restrictive heating laws.
Sounds great.
They push for stricter border controls, faster deportations, and a tougher stance on illegal migration while emphasizing integration through language and cultural requirements.
Law
and order policies focus on harsher punishments, expanded police powers, electronic surveillance, and stricter measures against terrorism, extremism.
Hold up. Wait.
Law and order policies focus on harsher punishments, expanded police powers, electronic surveillance,
I don't know about those ones, man. I don't know about that.
and stricter measures against terrorism,
Ugh.
extremism, and organized crime.
This sounds very Department of Homeland Security, you know what I mean, guys? Seems a little TSA.
Their foreign policy supports NATO, a strong
Trojan horse, basically. Yeah, looks like it, like a power grab, you know.
EU, close cooperation with France, Poland,
Yeah, I don't know about that.
and the US, and military aid to Ukraine with plans to reintroduce military conscription and develop European close cooperation with France, Poland, and the US, and military aid to Ukraine.
You know what though? I think it's actually, I think for them, it makes more sense to like want to support Ukraine if like you're Germany, like right, because they're like literally right next to that shit, right? Like they're kind of in the area. You know, so it kind of makes more sense.
Plans to reintroduce military conscription and develop European missile defense. Socially, they reject gender self-determination laws.
BTW for anyone that thinks they are like the US where one party can take control. That isn't like how any of the EU countries work. You need to work with other parties to make a larger caucus. So take how Trump added Insula and RFK to the Republican Party.
Yeah,
EU is that on a larger.
Yeah, they make like a bunch of they form like coalitions basically.
Concerns about foreign influence in religious organizations and want stricter integration agreements for immigrants. They also aim to roll back cannabis legalization, expand childcare support, and strengthen tradition.
I don't know how I feel about cannabis legalization. Like, just like anecdotally, like I don't like it. I feel like it messes with people, but at the same time, part of me is like, I don't really care if other people want to do it. Really? I don't know. It's a little hard. It's because cannabis is like not as bad as like other stuff. Like, you know, Fent obviously is like way worse, right?
Family policies.
Yeah, alcohol is like sort of the same. I don't know. Is it? Does alcohol have like a lot of permanent effects, just like weed? Alcohol is way worse. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Fair enough.
Their housing and mobility plans prioritize affordability.
Again, I'm kind of like neutral on it. I'm not like extremely against or extremely for. I'm like kind of in the middle.
Maintaining car industry competitiveness and
I don't really drink either. I only drink like a little bit. Like kind of like if my dad wants to have a beer, I'll have a beer with my dad. That's about it.
Reversing combustion engine bans. The Free Democratic Party.
There and things like wine, for instance. Wine has some health benefits, right? So,
short FDP in German is a liberal party positioned in the political center or center-right, rooted in classical liberalism. Founded in 1940, it emerged from the traditions of both left-leaning and nationalist liberal parties of the Weimar Republic. The FDP has been in government for 46 years, always as a junior coalition partner, often earning it the nickname Kingmaker. Its core principles are capitalism, individual freedom, particularly from state interference, and progressiveness. In economic policy, the party supports a socially responsible market economy with minimal government intervention, promoting deregulation, free trade, the creation of jobs, privatization, tax cuts, and reduced subsidies. The FDP aims to strengthen the investment climate by cutting bureaucracy and ensuring work pays more than welfare. Education
I mean, that sounds
is a
good.
priority, with a push for higher standards and early childhood improvements. Culturally, the party supports artistic diversity.
I mean, like I think like education is important. It's just I just don't like how we do it.
And wants culture anchored as a state of.
I think education is more important early than it is later. In terms of like, I don't think that everybody has the stats or needs to go into like college. Basically, I don't think it's that important for life.
Objective in the Constitution.
I think at that point, like life experience could be equally as important.
On energy, the FDP supports affordable energy, a strict CO2 cap via emissions trading, and
Blech.
market-driven expansion of renewables. It advocates nuclear fusion
Okay, hold on. Okay, I'm for that part. For the
and market-driven expansion of
yeah, I'm okay with the market-driven expansion of I like that. That's good.
renewables. It advocates
Because I don't think we should. I don't think polluting is like a good thing, right? I'm not like the anti-Captain Planet, like whatever the guy with the smog powers from Captain Planet. I'm not for like fuck the Earth, like fuck it, like just burn everything. I'm not for that, but like I'm for the technological advancement towards like making green energy actually better. That's what I like. And in my opinion, if you halt progress now, then it's just gonna fuck everything up. Basically, I'd rather like accelerate towards like the development of things that are good, like using like the market, right? Like nuclear fusion, it would be really good to have.
nuclear fusion without government subsidies. The party champions
Like the more money we have, the more we can invest in the pursuit of better forms of energy.
personal autonomy, defending individual rights against state control, promoting LGBTQ equality, and supporting women's rights, including promoting
hold on.
LGBTQ equality and
Okay,
supporting
hold
women's
on. Actually,
against
I'm okay.
state control, promoting LGBTQ equality.
Okay, I'm
and
gonna. What does it mean? What does that mean though? If they literally mean like actual equality, as in like the law is neutral, like the law is neutral to it, then actually I'm for this.
supporting women's rights, including better protection from violence and workplace fairness.
See, that sounds good on a surface level, but I kind of know what they actually mean by that. Do you see what I mean? Like, it sounds good. Like, if say you were like a person that just like all you did is listen to their spiels, and they were like, yeah, I think women should be equal. You'd be like, oh yeah, of course, right? But that's not what they mean. What they want is equity. I don't like equity. I like equality. I don't like equity. The difference is, equality is like the law is neutral towards it, and then like basically the law is neutral. The law allows you to the law is neutral, and you can achieve whatever you want. Like they're not able to like say you can't hold on. I have to be very careful here, because the thought that if a person doesn't want to hire a woman for a job is that bad, I think that's their right. Now that I think about it, it's kind of their right. I think ideally the market deals with this. Right? Because if, let's assume
Equality is equal opportunity while equity is equal outcome.
yeah, but I'm trying to think of it in terms of like law, right? Like, do I think it's a good thing for the government to be able to tell a person that they can't say no to a person because they're a woman? Because then that would also apply to minorities, right? But then it also conflicts with freedom, because if you're a person and it's your business, a private business, can you not hire a person just because you don't want to hire a woman? You see what I mean? Like, I'm not saying if I think it's right or not. Guys, we need to separate this, okay? I'm not saying if it's right or not. I think it's wrong to not hire, like, if a woman is equally capable as a man, and you say, I don't want to hire the woman because I don't like women, or I just don't want to hire a woman, I don't think that's right. But should the law enforce that? Do you see what I mean? That's like the thing I'm thinking about. Like, should the law be able to tell you that you can't do that? Because what happens then is, how do you mean it's wrong to not hire them based off of their race? I don't think that makes you a good person, basically. Do you see what I mean? But then how do you enforce it? Yeah, exactly. How do you enforce it? Because that's how you get into the situation of quotas, right? Well, to make sure that you're not discriminating, well, I better see like at least one person being a minority, right? And you have that. So like, how do you even enforce it at that point, right? Yeah, basically.
Women are less suited to physical roles
Jinga, that's what I'm
and get
thinking.
pregnant. In my country, You can't even ask a girl about family planning in an interview.
If you decide not to hire someone based on race, so the people of that race don't have to buy your products. Yeah, exactly. That's what I meant, Trapper, when I said that ideally the market handles it, right? Because ideally what happens is, say you're a racist, right? Let's say like you're just a racist person and you're like, I never want to hire, like, I'm just going to use Asians because I'm Asian. I never want to hire an Asian person, right? Let's just say slime. I never want to hire a slime folk because I never want to hire a slime folk person because they're sticky and nasty. Assholes. But say they do that, right? And then basically other people can hire slimes. So then they would have a market advantage, right? Because they're able to hire from a bigger pool of people. Does that make sense? I'm a slime. I can say that, guys. Depends on the context. That's I think the ideal. That's the ideal way that this is handled. The issue comes from trying to prove discrimination. You basically have no choice but to look at statistics. Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. Nitro. Chaos Shield says the law has to enforce it because if you don't present that racism and stuff up front in the employment process, you're inflicting a cost on applicants that you know will never be hired. I guess that's true. Would you be okay with that then, Chaos? If it was upfront, just
Look
out of
at
curiosity.
Japan, they have signs out front saying they will not cater to dietary need, aka no vegan, no gluten-free,
What costs the
and
cost
so
of
on
time?
like that.
Right, because if there's the, like, for instance, if you were to apply to a place and go through the interview process, but they had already known that they were not going to hire you because of your race, then they would have you wasting your time, basically, right? The problem is, yeah, how would the government enforce it? Anyway, in this specific case, sorry, I want to get back to the video. This is an interesting topic, but it's a little too deep and too long for philosophically for right now. Basically, again, these things sound really good on the surface, but what does it mean, right? What do they mean by this?
Better protection from violence and workplace fairness.
Like workplace fairness, like what do they mean about that? Like it sounds really good on paper, but like, and the thing is, you're gonna say, well, I don't agree with that. They're like, oh, so you want women to get beat up then, right? That's like, that's what happens basically, right? So it's kind of rough.
Their approach to it,
because I agree with those things. I agree with those things like ideologically, but how do you solve it? How do you solve it in a way that works, right? Because I don't agree with, when they say like, oh, so what they're going to say basically is like, oh, well, women make less money than men if you average it out. Well, yeah, because women have other things going on, right? If you, what they're going to do is they're going to take the stats and they're going to twist them, right? They don't care like how long the woman has been in the workforce, like how much time off she's taken, and they're not going to factor in any of that. They're just going to take how much did they make in the year versus how much did the guy make in the year. That's all they're going to do. They're not going to like, they're going to take the most favorable thing for their argument.
Including better protection from violence and work.
Yeah, and that
Sure,
too,
they
exactly.
Are thinking workplace like unions used to be, not like now where they will bully companies to comply with them just to keep workers.
Thinking of workplace unions, like it's not just the civil companies to comply and keep workers. It's like what King Elysian said is women simply pick jobs that make less money. It's true. Women in general are more interested in jobs that make less money. That's just the truth. Men are willing to take physical dangers and overexert themselves for work. It's just the facts. And am I for, so in a perfect world, do I think that two people who do the same amount of work and they try the same amount, and if everything were equal, should they get paid the same amount? I think ideally, but then how do you enforce that? That's the problem. Is you don't know all of the circumstances.
Workplace fairness. Their approach to immigration aims to align with the needs of the German labor market rather than purely humanitarian considerations while reforming asylum procedures. In foreign policy, the FDP sees the US as Germany's key ally but stresses EU and NATO
I don't like what they've done with asylum. Like the concept of asylum, I think is being incredibly abused.
the US as Germany's key ally but stresses EU and NATO self-reliance. It advocates for reduced dependence on China, stronger ties with Taiwan, and comprehensive support for Ukraine. While skeptical of military deployments, it favors a strong NATO-aligned army. As the self-proclaimed European Party, the FDP pushes for deeper European integration. The Social Democratic Party of Germany, short SPD, is Germany's oldest existing party and has evolved from a 1875 socialist workers' party into a modern social democratic people's party. Initially rooted in Marxism in 1959, it broadened its voter base while maintaining a strong focus on social justice, strengthening workers' rights, and a robust welfare state. Solidarity is their
I thought they all got kicked out. You know?
biggest core principle. The SPD aims for economic growth through investments in innovation, digital infrastructure, and the labor market to create well-paid jobs. They also plan tax reliefs for families while taxing the rich more, pushing for rent stability and affordable housing. The party wants to reform the education system, provide better funding for schools, and improve opportunities for children from migrant backgrounds. The SPD also wants better working conditions for caregivers, and in energy policy, it focuses on electrification, hydrogen technology, and green.
I think trying to increase taxes on rich people is cringe. It's cringe and it's incredibly it's envious is what it is.
Industry. On emigration, the SPD supports easier German citizenship, accelerated asylum, and semi-open borders, emphasizing diversity as an asset. Internationally, the SPD pushes for
I think that there's some there is some argument to be made that like you could say that maybe like some people can't afford to pay that. Maybe it like lower. I don't know. Actually, I just want flat tax. That's really what I want. That's what I actually want.
a
I think it should just be
European
flat.
defense union within NATO, the inclusion of Western Balkan countries, and firm support for Ukraine. It
Because flat is justice. That's why.
also champions a global billionaire tax to
Obviously, if it works in anime, it works in real life.
fund social and environmental initiatives, wants to push for global health policies, and is committed to combating climate change. Alliance 90, the Greens, formed in 1993 from the West German Greens Party and the East German Alliance 90. Originally, they were a radical alternative party rooted in the anti-nuclear, environmental, and peace movements. The party focused on ecology, social justice, grassroots democracy, and Greens, formed in 1993 from the West German Greens Party and the East German Alliance 90. Originally, they were a radical alternative party rooted in the anti-nuclear, environmental, and peace movements. The party focused on ecology, social justice, grassroots democracy, and non-violence. Their economic and social policies were initially influenced by eco-socialists from far-left groups. Internal conflicts between fundamentalists and pragmatists shaped its early years, but it has since adopted a more moderate approach while maintaining a strong focus on environmental policy, feminism, and economic intervention.
These guys seem like the worst, actually.
The Greens have been in government twice, from 1998 to 2005 in coalition with the SPD, and again from 2021 in the Traffic Light Coalition. Their energy policies prioritize wind and solar power, emissions trading, sustainable industry, phasing out nuclear power, and
Oh god, they're king cringe. They're like turbo super cringe. It's like they want wind and solar and they're like fuck nuclear. Dude, these are
full
super
climate
cringe.
neutrality. They advocate phasing out fossil fuels.
These are like the reality doesn't matter people. They're
combustion
like,
engines while modernizing infrastructure to be climate friendly. They also push for global climate action, including support for the Paris Agreement and more strict global targets. Social policies include equal pay for women, LGBTQ rights, eliminating barriers for same-sex families, and abortion decriminalization. Their proposed national action plan against discrimination includes dedicated commissioners for anti-discrimination, queer rights, and anti-racism. They propose a €15 minimum wage and closing
It's again like a lot of the stuff, like it sounds good on paper, but like I know exactly what they mean by it. This is all fucking bullshit.
loopholes for the wealthy.
Obviously, I'm for equality. Obviously, I'm for, like, you know, people being able to marry whoever they want, at least on a level of government intervention, right? Because there's a weird argument you can make. So here's a weird thing, is there is one argument. Okay, guys, I'm gonna talk a little bit about gay marriage. Okay, this might trigger some people. There is one argument that you could make that only straight people should be able to get married. And this is like tax incentive, right? By the way, guys, never mind. I'm not going to go into that. But basically, the argument is that if you're going to give, is that there needs, that straight couples need tax benefits because of child rearing, that like, oh, they deserve it because that's how you get more people. I think that getting more people is important. Like actual like procreation is important. Like of like, you know, for the human race, you need to have more people. So I can see that argument, but the problem is, are you going to apply that also to straight couples that don't have kids? I think that tax incentive should be removed from marriage and given to child rearing. That's my take on it. If you want to make the point that, oh, that's why gay people shouldn't have tax benefits when they're married, is because it doesn't lead to having like more children, then just move that tax benefit to children and then it's equal. That's my take on it. I think it's incredibly stupid to say like, oh, well, straight people should have tax benefits because of kids, but what if they don't have kids? Whatever. Like, who cares? You know what I mean? Just, you know, gay people never shouldn't have that. I don't agree with that. I think that the government should be consistent, regardless of that. If two people want to get together and like share a household, then they should get that. Then they should also get the tax benefits of straight people that do the same thing and don't have kids. So that's why if you move it to child rearing rather than the act of getting married, then it removes that thing completely and solves the problem. And I think that's how they should do it. Would the child rearing tax benefit apply to if the child is adopted? It could. I don't know. It could. I guess it depends on if you want it to be based on having the children or the raising of the children. You could maybe even split it that way. Aren't tax benefits applied once? No, they're applied right away. Correct me if I'm wrong. They're applied right away. You get a tax benefit regardless of if you have kids or not. I think you get more if you have kids, but you already get the tax benefit from just being married. Correct me if I'm wrong. Pretty sure I'm right. Have a lesser credit for adoption. We could do that. Like, we can discuss that. My concern is that one type of relationship isn't buffed tax wise, right? Because it's the government, right? The government has to be equal, in my opinion. Marriage changes filing, and so do dependents. Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of split in that way. Mm-hmm. That's my take on it. I think it's pretty balanced, I think.
The Greens also support digitalizing public services through a Germany app, banning flavored e-cigarettes, regulating sugary drinks, and strengthening animal protection. On immigration, they promote open borders with a welcome culture and a fair European asylum.
Man, I really don't like asylum. I don't like what it's turned into. Like, if the asylum, because a lot of asylum nowadays is economic asylum. Like, I don't like that. Like, obviously, like, if you have a neighboring country, like a literal neighboring country, like, say, like, Canada, I don't know, let's say, like, Canada, let's say, like, Vancouver got nuked or something, right? And they were, like, people that are like, oh, you know, we can't live there anymore. You know, maybe I would be more okay with asylum, but that's not how asylum works nowadays. RIP NL. And, well, what's that? What does that mean?
system. In foreign policy, they call for a stronger European Union, increased global cooperation, and a robust defense budget. They position Europe united as a response to America first and seek a common EU migration policy. They also push for the Global Agenda 2030 and its sustainable development goals, plus international climate negotiations.
Oh my
The
God.
left, Die
Those guys are the
Linke, is a
worst. These guys are
international
the
climate
worst right here. This like the Greens Alliance or whatever, the hippies, these guys are the worst.
negotiations. The left, Die Linke, is a democratic socialist party formed in 2007 through the merger of the SPD breakaway WASG and the left party PDS, which originated from the Socialist Unity Party of Germany. The party identifies with the legacy of Rosa Luxemburg and Karl Liebknecht, members of the Spartacus League, which eventually became the Communist Party of Germany. These days, the party seeks social, democratic, and peaceful reforms to overcome capitalism. In economic policy, Die Linke advocates for strong regulations of financial markets, reinstating a wealth tax, increasing
Oh, these guys are so cringe. Thanks for the follow, Mr. Redacted. Thank you. Oh,
inheritance
these guys are
tax,
cringe
and raising the
too.
top income tax rate to 53%, while the
What?
ultra-rich and raising the top income tax rate to 53%, while the ultra-rich shall pay 75%. The
I hate these guys.
party wants to close tax loopholes for the wealthy, introduce a financial transaction tax to curb speculation on financial markets, impose a business tax on self-employed people, and raise taxes for large corporations. Impose a business tax on self-employed people
Oh my God, these guys are so cringe.
and raise taxes for large corporations.
Ugh.
In the long term, it envisions transferring major industries into public ownership. They also demand a global billionaire tax.
Wait, what do you mean by a global billionaire tax? What does that mean?
The party supports a nationwide rent cap, free daycare, free school lunches,
Oh my God, guys. Everything's free with your money.
price controls on
We're so generous with your money.
energy and food, and a minimum social security income of €1,400 per month. It also advocates for the full legalization of cannabis, decriminalization of drug use, and a
Uh-huh.
ban on advertising for tobacco, alcohol, and gambling. Hospitals should also not operate for profit. In foreign policy, Die Linke demands disarmament, a complete ban on arms exports,
Dude, look at this. This picture is like so perfect. They picked a perfect
How much
picture
you
for
want to
this.
bet that parents don't get a choice on what free
Drastic
education they want?
Probably.
reductions in military spending, and a purely defensive military. Die Linke is also critical of NATO and advocates for its dissolution in favor of a new collective security system with Russia. Die Linke
If they weren't
promotes a
cringe from being
welcoming
the remains of the Communist Party, calling themselves the left should have really said it all.
This is super cringe.
immigration policy,
Dude, I don't know who's worse. Like these guys or the Greens. I don't
a right
I
to
can't
asylum,
right to ugh. Ugh.
quotas for people with migrant backgrounds in public administration, and
Wait, what'd they say?
quotas for promotes a welcoming immigration policy, a right to asylum, quotas for people with migrant backgrounds in public
Quotas?
administration, and stronger measures against anti-Muslim racism. It supports gender equality.
What they mean by that is you can't say anything online or they're gonna lock you up. That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying, and that's literally what they're doing, by the way.
And legal recognition of LGBTQ families. Environmentally, it pushes for an immediate nuclear phase-out, full climate neutrality
Oh
by
my
2040, and a $200 billion investment in an ecological industry. Wealthy individuals and corporations should bear most climate costs, while low-income households receive financial support. The Alliance Sarah
Oh man, I don't know who's the worst now. Dude, they're pretty bad too.
Wagenknecht, short BSW, founded in January 2024 by Sarah Wagenknecht after splitting from the Left Party, positions itself as economically left-leaning but socio-culturally conservative. As a
Interesting.
peace party, how they see themselves, BSW's foreign
Load of
policy
bullshit versus load of bullshit.
focuses on
Yeah.
détente, opposing military interventions,
It's like some kind of fairyland like storybook shit. You know, it's like, oh, all of this sounds so good. We should all do this. It's like
nuclear weapons, and criticizing
it's like some Star Trek shit. Like we had like infinite resources, you know, like
the EU for sovereignty losses and involvement in military aid to Ukraine. Instead, they advocate for peace negotiations over arms deliveries. On energy, they propose lowering prices through pragmatic climate policies, negotiating with Russia for gas, revisiting policies like the combustion engine ban, and modernizing renewable infrastructure without new nuclear plants. Economically, BSW pushes for higher wages, bolstering the middle class, improving pensions, and stimulating domestic demand with investments in infrastructure, education, housing, and research. They also advocate transforming large state-supported companies into innovation foundations. Tax reforms are proposed.
The road to hell is paved with good intentions.
it is, yes, that's true. The thing is a lot of it is you have to understand like human nature and reality. And I think a lot of people that are in these camps are just checked out of reality completely.
The load on lower and middle incomes with increased taxes on high earners, reintroduction of wealth taxes, and a financial transaction tax to curb speculation. Socially, they aim for a family-friendly Germany with accessible childcare, enhanced education, free sports for children, and mobile phone bans in schools. They also propose a law inspired by Australia.
I kind of like that, to be honest. The ban of mobile phones in schools. I kind of like that.
Mobile phone bans in schools. They also propose a law inspired by Australia's social media regulations. They also stand for women's autonomy, advocate for abortion decriminalization in early pregnancy, and oppose gender self-determination laws. BSW champions free speech.
Wait, what?
And oppose autonomy, advocate for abortion decriminalizations. They also stand for women's autonomy, advocate for abortion decriminalization in early pregnancy, and oppose gender self-determination.
This is like is this J.K. Rowling?
Laws. BSW champions
This is the J.K. Rowling party.
free speech, rejects funded projects that want to influence public discourse, and seeks to stop surveillance while protecting data privacy. They want to preserve cash as a payment option and roll back restrictions on its use. BSW also emphasizes the need for a well-equipped police force and proposes controlled immigration alongside a reform of the European asylum system.
Interesting. Damn. That's gonna be crazy. So like, who's like? I guess it'll be a lot more fun to not fun, but it'll be a lot more interesting to kind of follow this now that I have a little bit of context into like the different parties. So apparently the big elections like this weekend, we'll see what happens. We'll see if they go ultra MAGA or not.